Hey friends, it's Brandon Gustafson with Assisted Living Investing. I help beginners like you launch their assisted living business in 12 months. In today's video, we're going to be getting into what's the difference between a licensed and an unlicensed facility, care home, as you get started on your journey. So if you're interested, make sure you stick around. Hey there. Before we get started, I want to remind you to get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. You can get access to our free underwriting calculator, which is a great tool that I've created to help you move along on your investment journey. Let's get into the topic of today's video. What is the difference between a licensed and an unlicensed facility? And how do you understand what that is and which one's going to be best for you? We've actually talked about this in one of our live videos, so we'll link that up above so you can go get access to that. But I wanted to get into this topic a little bit deeper for you. Now let's first start off by talking about licensed facilities. What is a licensed facility? A licensed facility has a license, basically. So when you go through that process, you're going to be talking to the state. There's a lot of paperwork you got to get through to understand exactly what types of services you're going to be providing, who you're going to provide that service to. You have to specify what that looks like, the house, the size of it, the type of residents you're going to serve. If you're doing Medicaid, you're going to be looking at different types of waivers and things that you want to be serving. So those are all things that you want to kind of keep in mind as you're going about this process. The nice thing about being a licensed facility is you can brand yourself as a licensed facility. You can go out and you can say, we're licensed, we serve this population, give you some credibility with the population that you're trying to serve, which is really helpful in just kind of giving those families, those residents, a level of comfort that you know what you're doing and you're going about it the proper way. And they're going to want to be in your home and things like that and work with you. So that's a really nice thing. The other good thing is because you're licensed, you're able to provide higher levels of care, and that can lead to more income coming into the facility. So that's a really nice thing as well, because as we know, we're in this business not only to help people and provide services for them to help them live, we also have to do well for ourselves and make enough money to make it make sense. And so when you're licensed, you're able to kind of charge a higher amount, which is also a really nice thing. Some of the things that are kind of not as fun about being a licensed facility, though, are the inspections and the things that kind of come with being a licensed facility in a highly regulated field like healthcare and assisted living. So as a licensed facility, you're going to have at least an annual inspection. There's going to be different audits that come in, surveys, all kinds of things that kind of happen with this that you have to be prepared for. Make sure your policies and procedures are in place and that you know how to handle things when somebody comes in and does an inspection. It can be scary. It can be stressful. It can be hard. But it's the reality of working in this world of being an assisted living owner, home owner, and being able to provide care to your residents. So that's something you want to be aware of. The other thing with being a licensed facility is you have to make sure that you are hitting any staffing requirements. We've talked previously about resident to caregiver ratio. So go ahead and watch that video because it will give you a better insight into what that is and how it works. But when you're licensed, you're going to need to make sure that you are following and complying with those rules and regulations to make sure you have enough staff inside of the home to help you out through the process. So that's something else that you want to just kind of keep in mind as you are getting into being a licensed home. Now, let's talk about an unlicensed home. This means you don't have a license. It's that simple. As an unlicensed home, some of the things that are really nice about it, you don't have to deal with those regulatory things quite as much. You don't have to worry about those inspections that are coming in. You don't have to worry about the paperwork and things like that, which is really nice. You still are going to want to make sure that you're zoned properly because you'd hate to have something happen where you're 6 months into operating and the city finds out you're running this business because a neighbor told them and they come in and they say you're not zoned for this and they shut you down. You still want to have those conversations, make sure that you're meeting the needs, but it's going to be less regulated. There's going to be less things you have to do to get ready. Things you want to have that conversation with the city planner about and potentially the fire department are, we're going to be doing this care home. We're going to be providing service for, people with special needs or whatever it is. And we plan on having, 6 people living in the home, 4 people living in the home that are unrelated. Is there any issue with me doing that? That's kind of the level of questioning that you want to have as you get into that. Another nice thing about being an unlicensed facility is you don't have to worry as much about that resident to caregiver ratio, although Typically in these types of homes, when you're making this decision between licensed and unlicensed, you're going to be dealing with a smaller home, and the chances of you running into any resident to caregiver ratio requirements there are going to be pretty slim because you just don't have a ton of residents in the home. So something for you to kind of keep in mind though as you go into that. Where this can be maybe a hindrance for you is as an unlicensed provider, an unlicensed home, you can't brand yourself as a licensed facility. And that may give some residents and their families pause before wanting to come into your home. And so that's something you want to be aware of. You're also probably not going to be providing as high of a level of care for these residents. There's going to be less income coming in from that standpoint. Going the licensed route, there's some upfront costs and there's an annual fee to renew it, but it's such a minimal amount that it's not going to make a difference. If you were able to charge somebody an extra $1,000 to $2,000 per bed per month in a licensed facility over an unlicensed facility, you're more than making up the amount that you would be making, that you'd have to pay to maintain your license. So that's something you want to keep in mind. But the big thing there is just kind of the regulatory piece of it and the inspections that come as a licensed facility. That's something you really want to keep in mind there as you go into it. Now let's talk about a few of the other differences and things to take into consideration as you're doing this. Number one is when you're looking at a licensed versus unlicensed facility, and you're comparing them out apples to apples and you want it to be as similar as you can, you're probably looking, depending on the state and their rules and what they say you can do, between 4 and 6 residents. So you're not talking about a 20-bed home. You're talking about something that's 4 to 6 residents. It's relatively small. So your margins are going to be pretty slim already. So that's something you kind of want to take into consideration. Each state's going to have something that's slightly different. So you just kind of want to understand what that looks like for you and your state so that you're making the right decision as you go about getting things started. So that's one thing you want to kind of take into consideration. I've also noticed that there's quite a few states that are starting to crack down on unlicensed homes. And so the reason for that is as we have some of these immigration problems that are coming in and you have a lot of people coming across the border, there are people that are taking advantage of that, and they are saying, oh yeah, you can live here, and they're packing people into homes like sardines. And that has caused law enforcement to start cracking down on unlicensed homes. When somebody reports them, they're going in and they're checking on those homes. So yeah, it's a line that you may or may not want to cross. You may not want to deal with being an unlicensed home because of the negative connotation people have with it. There's just kind of this negative stigma that people associate with being an unlicensed home. So it might be worth it to go ahead and be licensed and deal with some of the regulations there so you don't have to deal with those headaches. I don't know what this is going to turn into in the future as well. So if you started at an unlicensed home and 6, 12 months from now, there's going to be an election, who knows what happens with that, but there's going to be a changing in different agencies and things like that. New rules could come out. Very conceivable either way. So it's one of those things that it's probably better to be licensed and have that level of comfort that you're doing things correctly so that you don't run into any of those types of hiccups along the way. Right, to recap, so we've been talking about licensed, unlicensed facilities, and kind of some of those other things you want to take into consideration as you're trying to decide which route you want to go. If you found this information helpful, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell as well, because it will notify you when we go and do these videos. We go live on Tuesdays. We put out one of these other long form videos for you on Thursdays, getting content out for you, putting out a lot of information. And comment down below your questions, because I can build content for you specifically. Would love to help you. I want to remind you as well to get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. We've got our free calculator over there I mentioned, but also some other courses and things like our business planning guide, which is the base of everything you need to get started on your assisted living investing journey. And then if you feel like you need some extra coaching and things, we've just launched our mastermind as I'm recording this. So by the time this comes out, it'll be a few months. But I'm super excited for the mastermind. If you want to learn more about that, go to assistedlivinginvesting.net/mastermind. We will link that down below. We can jump on a free strategy call and chat and see if it's a good fit for you or not. And that's assistedlivinginvesting.net/strategy. Any of those resources, they're available for you. Just hop over to the website and make sure you're taking advantage of that to help you along your journey. Because at Assisted Living Investing, I'm here to help beginners like you launch their assisted living in the next 12 months. It's what I want to do. Does residential assisted living sound interesting to you, but you don't know how to get started? At Assisted Living Investing, I'm here to help you through the process, start to finish, to help you achieve that time and financial freedom that you're looking for. I want to thank you for watching, remind you to like a video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified, and also remind you that it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Keep going, step by step by step. I promise you that if you do, you're consistent and persistent, you're going to be successful. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.